So, but I'll tell you that I had a situation today at work,
Oh yeah.
and anyway, I had a situation.
Something
Do
wrong?
you hear? Do you hear that? There's like this pitching. Is it a microphone?
I don't hear.
Okay.
I
So
don't hear.
anyway, I had a situation today where are we sure it's not the audio, right? We don't have any issues.
I don't think so. I'm not hearing it. Maybe it's on your end.
Maybe it.
Dadgum space whales.
They're back.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. I had to start off with that.
That was funny. That was good.
I mean, I had to start off with that because who knew, right?
Who
knew?
Who knew? The
folks
minute I saw that, I was like, really?
The minute you saw that, you knew eventually I was going to end up using that clip. So,
well, space whales happen.
So, folks, tonight we are going to talk about the Mandalorian season 3, episode 1.
Yes.
But they're calling, but they have chapter 17 is what they're calling, or chapter 14. They're kind of a weird deal they're doing. I don't understand it.
Yeah, they are. I guess had they always called them chapters? I don't recall one way or the other, but I did notice that that it was a chapter like 17, which I guess, there were 8 episodes in each of the previous seasons, so that would put us at 17, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the episode tonight is the apostate. What was the apostate? Not the apostle.
The apostate.
Yes.
The apostate. Apostate is somebody who has turned away from their religion. For those who are uninformed. That's what an apostate is. Which
no wonder my colon doctor had no idea what I was talking about. I had to check it. And I said, Doc.
You said you were having problems with your apostate?
Yeah, I thought, well. So
now I will say, I actually just pulled up Disney Plus, and yes, they all are labeled as chapters.
Okay.
Now I'm just disappointed that this is chapter 17 of The Mandalorian rather than chapter 20.
Yes, because of
because of The Mandalorian season 2.5.
And before we get started tonight, folks, we want to make sure there will be spoilers. So we're going to launch the spoiler alert. That's right. If you have not seen episode 1, well, too bad. No, you haven't seen episode 1. We're going to talk about it tonight. So if you don't mind spoilers, then stick around. If you don't like to know what happened, then that's fine. Tonight, we're going to talk about everything about episode 1. There's a ton of Easter eggs, and we may mention some things that happened in the Mandalorian season 2.5 of the
I'm sure we will need to.
Fett. Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot going on. And so, but first, before we go any further, we're going to do some nerdy news with our good friend, Mr. Ricky Pope.
Let's do it. So I do have kind of 3 things going on right now. Recently, actually just today, there is a brand new trailer for a movie I didn't even know was coming out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. And it is going to be an animated, kind of a CGI animated, interesting stylistically look to this particular new movie. It is going to be coming out in theaters. It's releasing on August 4th of this year.
Oh, so coming out in theaters, not streaming or anything like that.
No, it's going to be in theaters. And I don't know how I missed that this was even happening, but coming out in theaters, going to be animated, and it has quite the cast.
Yeah.
Now I looked up all the actors that I found listed, and the people that are playing the turtles, Leonardo, Mikey, Raphael, and Donatello, they're all younger actors that I'm not super familiar with, but Leo is going to be played by Nicholas Cantu. Mikey is going to be played by Shamon Brown, and then Raphael is going to be played by Brady Noon. Donnie, they call him Donnie on this, where I found it. Donatello is going to be played by Micah Abbey, and then April O'Neil, is that her name? April, the reporter, is going to be played by Ao Ebril, Ebry, and she is actually going to be in Marvel's Thunderbolts, but her name isn't associated with a character yet. So I'm interested to see who she's going to be playing. The other names that I'm going to mention, you're probably more familiar with. Juan Carlo Esposito.
Yes.
I.e. Moff Gideon from Mando, since we're talking about Mando today.
Exactly.
Will be playing a character named Baxter Stockman. Bebop will be played by Seth Rogen.
Interesting.
Rocksteady is going to be played by John Cena.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I saw that, and I'm thinking, why does he have to be in everything? Okay, he's starting to get on my nerves. But anyhow, I digress.
My thought was, Rocksteady. Why isn't it Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, John Cena, our favorite actor, wrestler. Yeah. Okay. So a character named Mondo Gecko is going to be played by Paul Rudd, of all people.
Oh, yeah.
Of Ant-Man fame.
Oh, yeah.
And another character named Ray Fillet is going to be played by played by Post Malone, who is a R&B rapper singer, if you're not familiar with Post Malone. More in the vein of our age group, Ice Cube is going to be playing Superfly.
That's awesome. I'm for that.
I'm for that one too. Yeah. And then Jackie Chan will be playing Splinter.
Yes.
So going to be quite the movie. Quite the cast of characters.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
So another bit of nerdy news. This is something that it didn't happen this weekend. It happened the previous weekend. Yeah. You remember you and I were talking about Ant-Man Quantumania. Its first weekend release. It was basically successful. It was low for a Marvel movie, but it was the best opening weekend for President's Day of any movie ever. It was the best opening for any of the Ant-Man franchise so far. So, successful weekend as far as that goes. And we mentioned that the second weekend, which not this past weekend, but the weekend before, it took a pretty hard nosedive and wasn't going to break like 35 million.
Gotcha.
Well, interesting fact. It did hit 32 million and technically won the box office that weekend.
Really?
Yes. Apparently, the box office was so low that weekend.
Oh, that's not good.
That Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Man, that's not that
weekend with 32 million.
Yeah, that's not the gold standard you want to go by.
That is not the gold standard you want to go by. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, and it was since we had mentioned it a week or so ago, I thought I would bring it up.
Yeah,
that was what the actual results were. So the next thing I want to mention, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, there is going to be another Alien movie. Or did I mention it on the show?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, I know I talked to somebody about it. I thought I had mentioned it on the show. There is going to be a new chapter in the Alien series of movies. So get ready for those face huggers and chest busters to come back. Plot details are a little sketchy, but from what I'm finding out, as opposed to the other movies which focused on adults in the corporation or militaristic, military people, this installment is going to be focus on a group of young people on a distant colony. The group find themselves in a fight for their lives with the titular alien. So get ready for the xenomorphs to arrive, and get ready for it to be a YA movie, a young adult movie. A YA, young adult fiction. That people call it YA. It's like Hunger Games and that that vein that kind of stuff. Thing.
Okay,
yeah. So it's going to be a young cast. Had to wait and see what this is really going to be all about.
Yeah,
with a young cast, it's possible they could go forward with more movies. But I mean,
is this a reboot, or is this? Do you know?
No, not as best as I can gather. It is not a reboot. This is a new chapter. This is a new planet where xenomorphs haven't been found before, and they are now showing up.
Okie
doke. So we will have to wait and see for more of that, but that is all the nerdy news I have for us today.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think the news just came out a couple of days ago, so I came across it maybe yesterday on the Instagram. So yeah, and I haven't heard anything about the cast that's going to play the turtles themselves, but you were saying it's a young cast of people, so
and
I look forward to it.
Nickelodeon is involved in the production.
Yeah, I haven't seen that name in a long time.
I know.
So yeah. Well, we have the nerdy news, and I think before we start with the main part of the show, let's do some stupid news.
Let's do it. It's the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Stupid news. Nothing like some good old-fashioned stupid news to get you pumping for the day. Man, we're getting close to the holidays again. Easter's around the corner. Getting everything ready. Those chocolate Easter eggs and all that good stuff. And with that said, well, the Easter Bunny has gone rogue. That's right.
Wait, Easter Bunny. Is this going to be like Cookie Monster went rogue last week?
No, not this time. But it does look like the Easter Bunny has gone rogue. Okay. Well, actually, Joby Poole, at 32 years old, he pleaded guilty to stealing almost 200,000 chocolate Easter eggs from an industrial park in Telford, Central England. I guess he couldn't resist that temptation of chocolatey goodness. Using a metal grinder to break through a gate, Poole stole the semi-truck to tow away a trailer loaded with Cadbury cream eggs and other chocolate treats worth more than $38,000.
Wow. I guess he was $38,000 worth of
$38,000
Cadbury cream eggs. I would be in heaven, and I would weigh 1,000 pounds.
I'd be diabetic. But Poole's crime spree didn't last long. Police stopped a vehicle, presumably intending to be the Easter Bunny on the highway, and arrested a man suspicious of theft. I guess the Easter Bunny disguise did not work for Mr. Joby Poole, who
Oh
was
my gosh.
disguised as the Easter Bunny. Prosecutors Owen Beale said that the pool had made the theft, had planned the theft, and had previous convictions for handling stolen goods. I guess he was hoping to have the sweetness of his criminal record. Poole entered the guilty plea to theft of the trailer, theft of its content, criminal damage to the chain lock. He's expected to be sentenced next month. Now, honestly, let's just hope that his fellow inmates don't take advantage of his sweet disposition. See, yeah, yeah.
I just want to know how do you fence $38,000 worth of chocolate?
What are you going to do with that? I mean, then
well, you got to sell it to make the money. What?
Well, and eventually it's going to melt. It's chocolate, so you got to do something with it, right?
Got to get rid of it fast.
Man. Have you ever thought about a new career move? Well, I have one for you, my friend. Are you tired of the boring old careers like doctors, lawyers, and engineers? I know I am. Do you want to make a difference in the world and get paid for it? I do. Well, look no further. Feel Complete, the nutrition brand, is searching for the world's first Poo-Miller. That's right, Poo-Miller. What's a Poo-Miller, you ask?
What is a Poo-Miller?
Oh, you ask. It's an expert of all things fecal matter.
Oh, that's nasty.
That's right. Of all things fecal matter. Yes, you read it right. The nutrition brand is looking for people passionate about the sight and smells of feces and what it can reveal about a person's overall health and well-being. Talk about a crappy job. But don't worry. Don't worry. You won't be left in the dark regretting poo. That's right. Aspiring poo-millers will be trained in all aspects of digestive health and nutrition, and the most talented among them will be offered a role as the UK's first poo-miller. That's right. And plus you'll get paid $1,500, €1,500 while you train. So who knew poo can be so lucrative or laxative? I went with that. Feel Complete wants to help people take control of their gut and break the taboo surrounding poo. That's right. Change the bowel habits can indicate infections, digestive problems, or linked to more severe issues. Therefore, Feel Complete said the role of the Poo-Miller, which keeps changing every time I say it, is crucial.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to rhyme with the French word for a guy who knows how to tell the difference between wines.
Yes.
And that's word is, I think, sommelier.
Yes, it's like,
so this is a Poo-Miller. Because the French, pronounce it, the R gets like an A sound.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Man, I should have done my research on this Poo-Miller. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
So anything we have to do with so you're going to be our resident expert in French poo. That's good. Poo-Miller.
No, thank you.
Poo-Miller. Lead nutritionist at Feel Complete, Hannah Marcy, said nobody's poo smells good, but particularly foul-smelling poo may also be a sign of other health problems. So if you have an excellent eye for detail and can commit to a strict training schedule, this could be the perfect job for you. That's right. And the CEO of Feel Complete, Aaron Providence, said being a poo expert might not be on the top of everyone's list, but finding and training the world's first Poo-Miller is the way to take a serious issue into gut health and have a little fun on the way. In a perfect world, we should all be Poo-Millers, he says. I don't get that, but say that again. Poo-Miller? Poo-Miller. Poo-Miller?
Yeah.
Let's just get on with it. This is stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
There's some nights I don't even know why I even do it. You know, I mean, these articles. Pool Malheur, can we make?
There's got to be. They have to pay a lot of money for that.
That makes no sense to me. Malheur, Pool Malheur.
Oh my gosh.
I'll make sure we edit that really well before it goes on the Instagrams. But anyhow, I don't know. That makes it weird. I don't.
Oh my goodness.
That's exactly right. So, okay, you can stop it now. Stop it. Okay. Wow. Sorry, folks, if you're hearing us right now. We had a girl throwing poo at the screen. Yes,
for way longer than he should have.
Way longer than they needed to. So tonight, moving from poo, we're going to talk about Mandalorian, which, hey, is not poo. It's pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good episode for an episode 1. Just what do you thought so far? Pretty good. I mean,
I thought it was very, very enjoyable. I don't know that anything. I don't think that anything really surprised me in this episode.
No, me neither.
We're kind of headed where we've kind of expected.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you've seen the last 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, you know, these things led up to. Now, let me ask you here. We talked about this last week. Do you feel if viewers did not see the last 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, you think they're going to get lost, or do you think they can come right in from episode number 2?
You know, I don't think they'll be too far off because he Din Djarin does he has a little bit of a conversation. You know, he basically, I mean, in 2 sentences, he explains why Grogu is still with him without giving specifics.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely was one of those, he could have taken a lot longer. That could have been a lot more exposition.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it needed to be.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to know what those 2 sentences meant when he said, you know, I took him to his own kind and he came back to me.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about what those 2 sentences mean, then you can go watch those episodes of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But if you're just accepting, you know, it's kind of one of those, you know, the broadcast TV shows, you know, like at the end of the season, somebody says, well, I'm off to, you know, the middle of nowhere to go on a mission to find myself. And then the first episode of the next season, he's back, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that kind of thing. It's almost, you know, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It starts off, you know, there's a ton of Easter eggs we're going to talk about. It was really cool. There's a lot of things that makes you go, is this a foreshadow of something to come? So we're going to talk about for a little bit. I thought it was interesting. At the beginning of it was kind of a coming of age ceremony in the very beginning. We talked about,
confused me a little bit.
It did. I thought too.
When I saw this scene, I did not assume that this was current day.
No, I
assumed that this was history, and I thought maybe that was young. You know, that was young Djarin.
That's what I thought too. But you know what? The young man looks a lot like Jango Fett, Boba Fett when he was younger.
Yes, it does a little bit. The hair,
the hair, yeah.
But I was thinking, my thought was, surely we're not seeing Boba Fett here. We don't need that.
We don't need that again, no. But I thought maybe it would have flashback. I thought maybe it was a flashback to Din when he became, but it did not. And actually, kind of a tidbit here, the Wesley Kimmel plays the youngling participating in the ritual. He was also playing in the Book of Boba Fett as
Oh,
one of the as
he's
one
the
of the
young
Raiders Tuscans. Yeah.
he's the young Tuscan.
He's
That is cool.
He's also a nephew of the late night talk show Jimmy Kimmel. So I thought that was kind of yeah.
That's
I
funny.
thought that is interesting. So, but it's fun. The beginning episode, and it's funny. There's a kind of the pullback of, and going back to, was it season 2 where the Mandalorian Din and the Tuscans and the people of I forget the name of the small town where Van Cobb, was the sheriff at, and the marshal at, where they
Yes.
were fighting against this big dragon.
Mm-hmm.
When they had the scene was like the water dragon, right? What if the
Yes.
crate dragon? And so that was a pretty intense scene.
This
And
was more like a turtle, though.
it reminds me of an alligator of some kind. But yeah, it's because at one point they had all these grappling hooks on him, and he just flipped over like an alligator would, or a crocodile would.
True.
But anyway, and the thing is that in this scene, I mean, they're getting murdered. Okay, there's no way they're going to stop this guy. So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Mandalorian comes in his decked out, N1 from the appearance of Phantom Menace. The Naboo N1 fighter.
Yep.
And basically knocks out the creature. And then and that's the thing that got me, was that here he is, he saved his old clan, and he goes back in, and the armor just says, "What are you doing here?" I mean, basically it's like, you're an outcast. What are you doing here?
Why? Yeah, he's like, just saved your life.
Yeah.
But okay, whatever.
So the story continues to be all about redemption, and it's all about Din wanting to redeem himself, to be back in his clan, because he removed his helmet, and basically this is a continuation of that. There's a lot that has gone with this, and it talks about the only way he can redeem himself is to go to Mandalore, and down to Mandalore. And I guess there is a place down in Mandalore, which is, it's kind of
some water and some mines.
Yes, I guess the capital city of Sandera and the mines of Mandalore, are underneath it. She said the mines are beneath the civic center of the city of Sandera, and and of course they're thinking, well, because of the purge, which was, the Empire just totally annihilating the planet, that it was not, livable. And but apparently there is a story, and apparently there was a man who, I guess somehow this material got to Jawas, and somehow this whatever this is basically proves that there's a good chance that the capital of Mandalore is livable. I mean, what did you get?
If not livable, it's not. Yeah, there's at least it's not completely slag.
Yeah. This was interesting to me. I really thought this was interesting. This is the shard. This shard again goes back to, he found it from Jawas. Apparently the Jawas said this was from a man who claimed that he got it from the capital of Mandalore, which is basically from the armor, who said it's basically crystallized from basically the devastation of the purge. Right. And what's interesting about this shard, and I was reading it, says it's actually a inscription, which is actually translates into the Bible. Exodus. Have you read about that? Exodus 5?
I had not.
Yes. It's basically an inscription. It's actually translated into the passage from Exodus 10:5-6 in the King James Version in the Bible. And the passage referenced the Jewish enslavement by the Egyptians, who eventually led to paradise by Moses. And which I thought was interesting, because the close-up of apparently somebody looked at a close up. Google that if you would.
Yeah.
But that was in two different resources that I came across. Screen Rant was one of them, which usually I never, Screen Rant usually is on the up and up on some of that stuff. And then there was another one, which I think would think was Variety, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, anyway, yeah, it's interesting. Are you doing a little research on that?
Yeah, just seeing what I can find on that real quick.
Which I find is interesting. It's and the thing with Star Wars, it does take a little bit from different spiritualities.
Absolutely.
It takes, Buddhism, a little bit of Christianity, Judaism. But I thought that was interesting in that shard. From my understanding, there was actually an inscription there. How they obtained that, I have no idea. But it was in a couple of articles I was reading. If I'm wrong, let me know, folks. But yeah, on that right there. So
yeah, I'm finding the same thing on Screen Rant that you mentioned.
Yeah, I found it interesting. I don't know why. It's kind of one of those things that I guess we'll just have to take a look at later. But I brought it up because I thought it was interesting because, Star Wars always took a little bit from, like I said, from different different religions. And
yeah.
But yeah. So basically, in the beginning of The Mandalorian, Din is basically visiting his the Children of the Watch, and basically, he wants to know how to atone for his sins, in which basically he knows that he has to go to the capital of Mandalore, which right now there is some sign that it is, I don't want to say livable, but it's inhabitable enough for him to maybe go and bathe themselves in the water that's down in the mines. And apparently most of all the mines are destroyed, but there's some type of hint that maybe one of the mines are still intact. So that's kind of where we're at on that story. But, there's so much that's going on, and I don't know if there's anything particularly you want to point out. But there was a couple of things. It's kind of like the elephant in the room on a couple of things. And
I was going to say, one of the things I thought was interesting was how much he wants is it IG-11?
IG-11, yeah. Yeah,
how much he wants I need IG-11. I was like, that's an interesting request. And I wonder where that's heading.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In the city of Navarro, there's a statue of IG-11, and it has and it's interesting that, and I don't know how they did it, but they were able to find some of his parts from that explosion, which I think was kind of odd.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Well, even more strange is the bomb was right in the middle of his chest.
Yeah, exactly.
And the part that they recovered is his chest and head. I would think you would be more likely to find his arms and legs and less likely to find his chest.
Yeah,
but his chest. Okay, whatever. I'm okay with that. If you're going to find something useful, I guess those are the parts to find.
I find there's a couple of things that I found interesting in this, and like I said, let's cover the elephant in the room here. Let's talk about people who did not show up in the first episode that was in the second episode. Okay, we all know where I'm going at. So let's go back to, okay, we know Din went to Navarro. he met with Grief Karga, who is now the high magistrate. Okay, not the magistrate. He's the high magistrate.
He made that abundantly clear.
He made that very clear. made that very clear. And from there, he talks about Cara Dune.
Yes,
Cara Dune.
That was super interesting to me. I expected them to just completely gloss over and ignore her existence.
Yeah.
It is fascinating that they mentioned her.
Yes.
They gave her a reason not to be there, which very specifically was supposed to lead into a show that she was probably going to be a part of.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, wow, did you just... They like write this script before everything happened and just decide not to change any of it?
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I mean,
I'm glad she got a mention.
Oh, I do. I think she became the ex-marshal, and I guess she joined the New Republic Special Forces.
Yeah,
and that was
glad
about
to
it.
see they didn't kill her off.
No,
which means there is a chance for her to return at some
point. I hope she does. I mean, not to get into any of the politics. I would like for her to come back because I like her character. And, and maybe people can stop causing conflict on social media. Maybe we can all get along and go ahead and have some good Star Wars characters, which I really liked her character. And I was looking forward to her having a very strong female role in that upcoming upcoming Star Wars series.
Yep, me too.
Which was Rangers of the New Republic, which I thought would be awesome. And it would be another story being told that's not all Jedi Force oriented.
Yes.
Something new, something different.
Yep. Very much so.
Unless I read it wrong, Moff Gideon, my assumption he's supposed to be back in season 3. I don't know. But they did explain his character, that Moff Gideon was sent to the New Republic War Tribunals.
Which is what I think they had said was going to happen.
Yeah.
So as far as anyone here knows, that's what has happened. Now, personally, I expect him to escape somehow.
Oh, sure.
Somehow.
Sure. I mean,
because somehow is now the new Star Wars thing.
Exactly.
Moff Gideon returned somehow.
So they had and I think that all came up with a confrontation with the We Carry Pirates, which the Carry Pirates, again, they're back again. I think they were in well, I know they're the same race as Hondo Ohnaka, which he was from the Clone Wars and the Rebel series.
Okay.
And so if you're familiar with Hondo from Rebels and from Clone Wars, this is kind of the same race. Not all, but particular race. And of course, these also former bounty hunters. And in that school, if I'm not mistaken, used to be where the guild is, the bounty hunter guild, if I'm not mistaken. Because because he wanted to go in for a drink, and the C-3PO wannabe said, "No, this is a school." And then, of course, it was a confrontation between Gree and Din. So
I thought the insertion of the pirates was a little odd.
Yeah.
And then we see them come back again later on in the show.
Yeah.
My guess is they are going to play, I don't know, a significant role in the series. Exactly. But I think they're going to be a recurring gnat that keeps showing up.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it's kind of an odd deal. It's especially the guy who plays the Pirate King, Goran Shard, which is
Yes.
I don't know, it's kind of an odd costume. It was it kind of took me out of things because he didn't look like a Star Wars character. He looked more like a Muppet. I couldn't just. He had this different. I don't know how to describe him. He just he looked like algae. You, I, Kermit the Frog on crack or something, or just on Kermit the Frog on Rogaine. I think that's what it is. I can't tell, but anyway, yes, I have a feeling those pirates are probably going to be. They're not going to mean them. I think they're going to be more of a nuisance throughout the series. I don't think they're going to play
so
a main. Too. So, but in the confrontation, talking about with the pirates, and then with not having a marshal, and Dune is gone. Grief basically he tries to court Mando. He said, I need a marshal.
Yeah.
And Din basically says, I can't, I'm on a mission. And later on, he explains more what the mission is. So here's my thing on this. And is that, so they need a marshal. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah. I know who you want to show up.
I want Van Cobb, the new marshal, a Navarro. Maybe.
But he's supposed to be taking care of Mos Espa.
I know. We need a marshal, right? This is Star Wars. Anything can happen, right?
Small universe. It can definitely happen.
Because the thing is, Mando, and this is interesting, Mando asks Kreef, why don't you, reach out to the New Republic and have them sign you one? Because Cara Dune was a New Republic marshal. And Kreef basically says, I don't want any bureaucrats that's 1,000 miles away telling us what to do. I want this to be an independent trade, planet. And it kind of has me this feeling of, Lando Calrissian, who became a respectable, leader, for Cloud City. There's some similarities there to me. Once a criminal, and now is a pillar of community, a leader of people. And so there's some of those commonalities there. And so I thought that was interesting. And of course, we all know, what happened, to Calrissian. So, because he came back, the only one left alive from the, So anyway, so IG-11, go ahead.
I was just saying, do you think Cara Dune will come back?
I don't think so. I want to, but I think.
You think that was her? That was the quick explanation to say, hey, she's not going to be back, and here's why.
Yeah, I think they wanted to. I think they wanted to tie. I think they wanted to have a little bow tie and say why she's not there. Because they could pretend like she never exists, but the reality, she did. And the last time, when Mando left, she was there. She was the marshal. She was the one keeping the law in the area. So they had to address that. And I think the way they addressed it made sense. They didn't make a big deal about it. It was in passing what was going on. It seemed very fluid. It seemed very organic. So, but would I like to see her come back? I would love that, I'm hoping that maybe Fabio is basically, maybe I can leave this open. Maybe we can get her back, because Filoni and Fabio loved her. They think she was great.
Yeah.
They didn't want her to go. And, and I think Kathleen Kennedy has a lot to do behind all of that. I don't think,
very probable.
So anyway, trying to get off my soapbox here, but I would like to see her come back, because selfishly, I just like her back because I think she's a great actor for this part, and I want to see this character. So, But anyway, and I thought it was interesting how, like you said, we go back to IG-11. I thought it was interesting how Din really wanted him back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, he talked about wanting a probe to go down to the mines. I think he wanted to use, like a droid that could go into those areas that maybe, a human could not because of the environment. He didn't want another droid. He wanted IG-11. I thought it was interesting when they saw the statue that he said to Grogu, you remember your friend, which is totally opposite from the beginning where Mando wanted nothing to do with droids. It's like a total flip flop.
He really disliked droids, but now he has come to appreciate at least one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was the scene where he tries to put IG-11 back together. All things went wrong. Things didn't go very well. Apparently old protocols came about and he remembered that he must kill Grogu. He must kill Grogu. Yeah.
That was interesting. That was honestly, that wasn't super surprising to me.
No, I wasn't.
I was like, okay, so he can come back in one of two ways. He can be super protective, or he can want to kill Grogu.
And this leads us to our good friends, the Azilians.
Yes.
Which
I
are
love them. They are super cute.
Which, their first appearance was in the Rise of Skywalker. That's the first time we actually seen them prior to the TV show, TV show, the series of Mandalorian.
They were working on C-3PO, right?
Yeah, exactly. I believe so. And so one of my favorite scenes is the between Grief and Din.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
He's translating. He's like, yeah, I get it. I can understand them.
I get it.
You don't have to. They're speaking English. You don't have to translate.
Yeah. I think that was really that was hilarious. And I love and it was like it was like Din was like when he's sitting in this little house. It was like something from The Hobbit or something. Yes. I mean, he's sitting in there and they're working on it. And my favorite scene is when Grogu grabs one of them.
Yes.
And Din says, that is not a pet. Put him down. He's a bad baby, and I'd love it.
Gosh. It was brilliant. It was
a brilliant scene.
I'm sure it will get lots of hate because it was so humorous and ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was so perfect. It's such a goofy Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
There's everybody who ever hates on the goofiness of certain scenes in Star Wars. There's always goofy scenes in Star Wars.
Yeah, there always is.
C-3PO was the comic relief of the original trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the butt of every joke. He was always having problems. He was always complaining. He was the comic relief. And they've just kept it up and just find new ways to have a little comic relief from time to time.
Well, I mean, there's always, you look at the Jawas, you look at the Ewoks, let's forget about Jar Jar Binks. Let's talk about, there's been from the very beginning to, the hardcore original trilogy folks to, till now, even through this, the sequels, there's always been that kind of humor in it. It's never been, in the office of Kreef Geiger, of Kreef, in his office, Grogu, you can tell he's stronger in the Force because he's spinning around in his chair, he's taking snacks off the table, but the significance of that, it doesn't make him tired. The significance of that
it didn't make him tired, and it shows that he he is still a little kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though he has grown in the Force, he's still a little kid. I love it when Din Djarin grabs the chair and stops it from spinning.
Exactly.
That is such a dad thing.
Dad thing. Yes.
That is such a dad thing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Now, I think one thing that we waited too long to address, and I think it's time to address it, is the
space whales
space
in the ring.
whales. Yes. Now, if many of you don't know what we're talking about, if you've watched the Rebels, this goes back to the Rebels, and this brings up a question. And of course, back in the Rebels, the space whales or the Purgles are basically space whales, and in going close to the end, they somehow are part of the disappearance of Thrawn and Ezra Bridgers in a conflict they're having.
Yes. One of the few, if only, creatures in the Star Wars universe that can jump to light speed in and of their own selves.
In their own selves.
They don't have to. There's no machinery involved. No. They can just go faster than the speed of light somehow.
So the end of Rebels, the confrontation between Ezra and Thrawn was in a starship, and the space whales came to Ezra's defense, and the next thing you know, they got hold of the ships and they're gone. We don't know what happened to Ezra Bridgers or Thrawn. And this is my next question. Seeing that, is that a foreshadow of us eventually seeing Ezra Bridgers, which we know that character has been cast, and they're talking about that character showing up in Ahsoka. And we know Thrawn was mentioned in the second season of The Mandalorian when Din met Ahsoka, because she is trying to find him. And I believe trying to find him is because she's trying to find Ezra Bridgers.
Yes.
And does that mean we're also going to see the other Mandalorian, the other young Mandalorian from the Rebels as well, Sabrina. So is this opening the door to Ahsoka, or are we going to actually see some of this evolve in this series? What do you think?
I feel like we have too much story that needs to be told for them to really do anything significant. Sabrina, possibly. But I honestly think it's simply an Easter egg that says, hey, don't forget, Ahsoka's coming up.
Yeah. Well, that could be it.
I really think that's what it is. It's simply an Easter egg put in because, they're pointing toward what will be, but I don't think we'll get a big storyline. I think we've got too many storylines already. We have pirates, space pirates. Mm-hmm. We have Din Djarin trying to make amends. We have what's her name? The
Bo-Katan.
other man, Bo-Katan. We've got Bo-Katan trying to figure out how to be a leader.
Yes.
When she, I mean, and that's a great conversation. It's an interesting conversation. I'm really surprised how this conversation went. She basically just said, "You go lead them.
You have the saber.
I have no ability to rally these people together. You go swing that saber around, and then you can lead them."
Well, you can tell in that scene. Well, I mean, basically, basically minus the dark saber, she had no, minus the respect, they all left.
And she's given up.
And she's given up. You can tell, and she's very snarky about it. She's just very she's done, here, you have it. You have the saber, you rally them. And, he basically tells her, well, I'm going to go to Mandalore and atone for my sins and blah, blah, blah. And she says, you're a fool, but go ahead, whatever. I think she's just done. She has an attitude of done. She feels abandoned. Everything that she's worked hard for, the some of the ships that they had for their fleet that they took from the remnants of the Empire, her people, or the people that were supposed to be under her, they took it and they went off to do mercenary things. And then here she is alone in her family's clan castle, just sitting there on her sitting on the throne with no one to lead. And this will be interesting how this plays off. I mean, she could easily, if she wants to, she could have killed him. She's not. There's this thing about her. I mean, she could challenge Din and say challenge him to the death for that, the dark saber, but she doesn't. And and what holds her back from that? A sense of respect, a sense of, what do you think? What keeps her from doing that if she wants to lead the people?
From just accepting it?
From just challenging him for it. If that's the lore for her to be able to get the saber, why not challenge him? But I know the underlying this is that, in a way she respects him. She likes him. She knows that he has a good moral compass, and he's not the one that she wants to win in battle for the dark saber. Yeah. Moff Gideon would be a great choice. Any other villain, she would.
Yeah.
But
her attitude is so much, I'm just over it. I've just given up. I think she's just to the point of, there's no point in me challenging this guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to fight back anyway.
No, he's not.
So even if she did challenge him, she wouldn't feel like she really won in the end.
Because he wouldn't.
She would feel like he gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she feels like there's no good solution.
I think is interesting in this is there's this this hypocritical Bo-Katan saying that, hey, by the way, you guys are so religious, you guys are so dogmatic about having this helmet on your head, and that you think by lifting it, you're no longer a Mandalorian, and you think we are less so Mandalorians because we take our helmets off. But on the other way around, she can't just receive the saber, the dark saber. There's somehow I would like to see that, and part of me wondering if both things will be answered, where she finally will accept it and he will accept the helmet to be off. If there would somehow come to that situation where they go, you need a leader, and she's going, you need to be free from this because it's your people who destroyed us. It's your people then that destroyed us and abandoned us from the fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the writers are going here.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I feel like there's only two solutions.
Yeah.
I feel like, and they both have to go the same way.
Yeah.
In both solutions. I don't think we can get a solution where one does one thing and one does the other.
Yeah.
I think either they both have to accept that their traditions need to change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Or they both need to come up with solutions that allow them to continue their traditions.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can have Bo-Katan break her traditions and Din Djarin keep his.
Yeah, exactly.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
I think it has to either be they both decide that the traditions don't matter anymore, or they both have to come up with solutions where the they honor their traditions.
Well, what's the greater good? And it comes down to they finally have to come to what's the greater good for Mandalore? What's the greater good? You need a leader. Okay. You need to change your customs. You can you need Din. You no longer, need to be part of a cult that basically isolate yourself from being a part of Mandalore, being part of his people. And I think somehow you're right. I don't think one can say keep tradition and the other one says I'm giving up tradition. I think somehow there has to make this work. They both have to come to some kind of agreement that this needs to change for the better of all. And
I have the feeling that's where we're going. I have the feeling they're both going to lay down their traditions.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad writing, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I feel like
either.
That's the direction we're probably headed.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
But I definitely don't think we can have one of them lay down the traditions and one of them uphold the traditions.
I agree. And of course, the end is basically he leaves from there and that's the end. He he takes off and he's heading to Mandalore, which will be the next. Do you have any thoughts about episode 2, what we might see or what we might experience? Or
I feel like if he arrives at Mandalore next episode, that's too fast. My expectation is that Mandalore will be the finale episode, like 2 or 3-part episode at the end.
Yeah.
I just don't see them getting to Mandalore this quickly. It sounds like he's not going to Mandalore before he has IG-88 or IG-11.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, and more than likely he, in that scene with the Azalians, he has to find a memory circuit. And so
now that could be a reason to bring the pirates in.
Yeah.
If the pirates have the memory circuit he needs.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be a reason for him to fight the pirates. I can see that. Or a situation where he gets it, but then the pirates steal it from him.
Yeah. And then you have that whole, episodic right there. What's going on with that?
I mean, this is every single season has been a chase. There's a quest, and I have to go place to place to place to complete my quest.
Yeah, so I have to go.
I think we're going to be. My guess is next episode we're either going to get the memory chip or find out where to get the memory chip.
I think a lot of it we'll have to do through this are going to be what we call in gaming side quests.
Oh yeah.
Side quests to get to the main mission. And I think that's one of them. I think IG-11, I think he will come back. I think I think the mission is going to be for, Din to find the memory circuit and take it back to Navarro. And that's another thing, going back to Navarro, what's going to go on there? Navarro's going to be attacked by pirates. I mean, there's so many things that can happen in this whole deal.
We do know from the trailer that there is a battle with multiple Mandalorians in the city square where IG-88, or I keep calling him IG-88. It's because I'm old. IG-11, where the IG-11 statue stood, because in the clip from the trailer, you can see one of the big Mandalorians with that big, machine gun thing. And he's standing right next to the leg that's still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know there's going to be some kind of battle there.
Yeah.
The question is, why? Do the pirates take over Navarro and now Din has to lead the Mandalorians to rescue his friends.
Yeah, or they bring back, Vanth Cobb, who's the new Marshal Navario.
You really want that to happen.
Dude, I love that actor. Yes, we need a Marshal, man. Comes back with his modified cyberkinetics and
he just needs his own show.
Heck yeah. Forget about he could be the Rangers of the New Republic. Like
yeah.
He could be like the Texas Walker Ranger of Star
of the
Wars.
New Republic.
Of the New Republic. And they bring in Chuck Norris as well.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Cobb Vanth. Walker, Texas Ranger of the New Republic.
New Republic. Well, Mark can be going, how can we make that shorter? But
there is a meme in there somewhere. I just have to figure out how it works.
Same here. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, that's all I have all the nuggets I have to dig out of this thing. I enjoyed the first episode. Basically, and I've read some reviews where people were having issues and being negative, and I'm thinking
everybody's always got issues.
It's like season 1, people. I mean, it's episode 1. It's a setup. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You don't go to a movie and watch it. We talked about it before. You don't go to a movie, watch it for 15 minutes, and then you leave going, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. It's an 8-episode season, and it's going to be one big story.
Exactly.
That's just the way these things work.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else, my friend?
I don't have anything else. That was, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
I do too. Unless anything comes up that's timely that we need to talk about, our next episode we'll be talking about episode 2 of The Mandalorian.
So make sure you watch it before you listen.
That's right. So, and where you can find us on speakingnerdy.com. We're on, there you can listen to our audio podcast, which you can find on any of your favorite platforms for your favorite podcasting shows. You can also watch us on YouTube, which there's a link on our website where you can actually see us on the YouTubes, and we're on the Instagrams and the TikToks. So, check us out. We also have a Facebook group page, so you can check us out there. Speaking Nerdy, easy to find us. And I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, far as I know. I guess they left.
Whales.
They left. On that note, goodbye.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Man. It was like Shamu. San Diego. I don't get it. Space Whales.
Space Whales.
You knew they had to do it.